When I returned to my room with Rococo, I was shocked seeing Chloe in bed lying down. I shouted her name, Chloe, but she won't respond. Can it be an assassin? Someone aiming me, I asked Rococo. That can't be, because we are inside my domain. Right, if someone had invaded there's no way you won't notice. If Rococo-chan didn't notice, maybe Kaima did? Or what if it was long-range magic and they did it from outside Rococo's domain? While I was thinking that, Chloe got up. I call out to her, causing her to immediately jump out of the bed and bow before my feet. Bowing like that is a classic form of apology derived from alternate worlds. It is also known as genuflection. However, it's rare for Chloe to make such a blunder. I wonder what in the world happened. The truth is, I wanted to check the bed to make sure it was up to standards before you slept on it. However, it felt so oddly comforting that before I knew it, I was. It's entirely as if you've been charmed by a spell. Although this could be the work of a magic tool. I find it hard to believe that a succubus like Chloe would fall under the effects of a charm spell. After all, since succubi specialize in charms, it would have to be an extremely powerful one to catch Chloe unnoticed. I've never seen Chloe do something like that before. I can't blame her though, these beds are really comfy. I gently touch the bed as well. And my fingers sink into it. What in the world? This isn't cotton, is it? I reflexively push my palm against it. The bed is soft, yet still firm enough to resist my hand. Oh my! I nearly became charmed by the bed myself. I pull a tactical retreat and observe the bed from afar. The frame is made of tastefully decorated wood, which would no doubt make it a valuable luxury item. I'll have to try making one of these blankets myself after returning home. I can certainly understand how Chloe was taken off guard by this bed. Succubi, given their nature, can get quite invested in beds and such. Sister, it'll be hot with both of us in bed, so let's use this thinner blanket instead. Rococo picks up the thin blanket on the massage chair and brings it over. She seems quite used to doing that. Kaima hasn't laid his hands on her, has he? He better not have. Over here, sister. Rococo gets on one side of the bed and, leaving plenty of empty space for me, pats the other side. I feel a happiness that's difficult to describe right now. A trembling happiness that feels as if it's filling my entire body. I get into the bed as invited and, like a pair of happy sisters, I do think we truly are a pair of happy sisters, but in any case, like a pair of happy sisters, we nestle together and fall into a blissful sleep. The comfortable bed is nice, but that's not important to me. What I truly care about is the fact I'm sleeping together with Rococo. Dungeon cores don't need actual sleep. But even with that aside, up until now, Rococo hasn't had the leeway necessary to do things such as sleep. I myself had forced her to live in dangerous, rough conditions in order to hide from the soldiers of God. Just cause or not, I cannot help but feel guilt and regret over what I've put her through. With that in mind, perhaps I should feel grateful for Kaima. Or at least right now. If he makes Rococo unhappy for any reason, I will never forgive him. But in any case, this experience is certainly worth 100 gold coins. Day 68 #Kaima's perspective. 25 gold pieces. No question. Haku gave me a small bag packed with gold pieces first thing in the morning. What? That is how much a night's stay in your suite is worth. 25 gold pieces per person, and thus 50 gold pieces for 2 people. A copper piece was equivalent to about 100 yen. So 100 of those would be worth 10,000 yen, or 1 silver piece. Now taking it a step further, 100 of those would be worth 1 million yen, or 1 gold piece. And she just gave me 50 gold pieces. In other words, 50 million yen. I had definitely delivered Haku's food through Rococo with instructions to get in the onsen together with her in hopes of boosting the price as much as possible, but 50 million yen for a single night's stay was more than I had ever imagined. And on top of that, Haku put another 13 gold pieces on the counter. And as for the food, 1 gold piece is simply too little for a meal of that caliber. I know the special circumstances under which you are acquiring the food, but normal inns would charge around 10 gold pieces for such a meal. You should raise the price to 5 gold pieces at the least. Here is my payment for our meals, splitting the difference, with rococo's included. 5 million yen per meal? A child's deluxe lunch, 10 DP, and cream soda, 8 DP, is worth 5 million yen. Inflation is a hell of a drug. Economically speaking, I'm making over 99% net profit from this. I mean, I definitely want to earn as much as I can from this, but I kind of feel like I'm ripping people off. Like, sure, it's deluxe, but I literally fed a child's lunch to Haku, and she's paying this much for it. Ichika also said that the meal would be worth 5 gold coins, but it just... Honestly, I feel like this is a bit much. Are you suggesting that you cannot trust my opinion? It seems you do not fully agree with me, so I will explain my reasoning in more detail. However, she was kind enough to elaborate for me. Alright. Sorry. First of all, I assumed that you attempted to match the price to how much DP you spent on the food. However, the resulting price feels lacking and inconsiderate of such costs as transportation and labor. For example, cherries were apparently fruits grown in a distant eastern country called Wakoku. A single one of them would cost 50 silvers in Saya. They rotted quickly, so fresh cherries had to be stored in storage. And the only adventurers with storage going back and forth between Saya and Wakoku were generally A-rank adventurers. Sending an A-rank adventurer that far on a delivery quest would run you up 5 gold pieces at least. To make up for that, you would buy in bulk, and subtracting the cost of the cherries you ended up with 50 silvers per cherry. Makes sense. I never considered that until she brought it up. Yeah, the only reason I could buy stuff like vegetable stuffed bread rolls for cheap in Japan is thanks to factories, mass production, and a globalized economy with cheap shipping. Recreating Japanese recipes in this fantasy world that doesn't have factories, or even the recipes for the food, will naturally lead to a lot of invisible costs coming out of seemingly nowhere. This world has magic and dungeons, but it hasn't developed any forms of mass production yet. Crap. I made a big mistake trying to equate 1 copper to 100 yen. Thanks to making a shortcut between this world's money and Japan's money, I ended up calculating prices based on what they would be worth in Japan. Haku's suggested price for the A-rank meal is basically exactly what Ichika suggested to me. She should have worked a little harder to convince me. Oh wait. Slaves can't really backtalk their masters too much. Right. This is completely my fault. By the way, I suppose it would be best for me to tip Rococo directly with DP, yes? Yeah? That sounds good to me. Okay, Rococo. Open wide. Alrightio. Haku asked Rococo to prepare for the DP transfer. Okay. Here comes another kiss scene. Or so I thought, but then Haku thrust her finger into Rococo's mouth. Mem? Come now, don't pull away. Loosen up your shoulders and relax. Okay? Let it flow over you. N. Haku's cheeks flushed slightly as Rococo sucked on her finger desperately, ears bright red. This is Yeah, this is something. Really gets the blood flowing. After a while of that, Haku pulled her finger out of Rococo's mouth. A small string of saliva bridged the gap between them. You aren't going to kiss her this time? Correct. Now that Rococo has made her debut as a public dungeon, I imagine she will end up in dungeon battles with other cores that come to duel her. She needed to learn how to accept DP from them without using her mouth. I can understand all that, but why are you licking Rococo's saliva off your finger? I almost pointed that out, but decided not to. Her murderous glares were bad for my heart. By the way, speaking of other dungeon cores, did you know that there's another dungeon in Saya Mountain? It's on the other side of the mountain, more or less, so I imagine you won't be seeing them anytime soon. Haku said that without a care in the world. Haku, do you know what the word flag means? Flag? Like those tiny ones you put into the glutton sets, omelette rice? Never mind. I'm not sure why, but I've got a really bad feeling about this. Suddenly, I remembered the egg that Rokuko had got with her 10,000 DP. We didn't know what it was, but Haku might. And so, I had her look at the egg that for some reason had grown to the size of a soft ball. I'm pretty sure eggs aren't supposed to get bigger. This is weird. I wonder if it's going to get even bigger. Here, sister. Do you know what it is? Oh my. It's been a long time since I've seen one, but I believe this is an immortal phoenix egg. Phoenixes are quite tasty, you know. Haku's inspection revealed that it was a phoenix egg. Apparently, they tasted pretty good. I wonder if you could just keep eating the same phoenix over and over? I'm pretty sure they're immortal or something. They are like big clumps of mana, so their blood is useful for making medicine. Phoenixes are truly useful in many ways, though they aren't too powerful as monsters. They're not strong? Although they revive on their own after dying, they're more or less birds that are constantly on fire. They're classified as B-rank monsters due to their rarity, but in a fight they're weak enough for a single C-rank adventurer to defeat them. Their primary advantage is that they don't use DP when reviving, I suppose. They're weak, huh? Guess this guy's not gonna be a boss in our dungeon. Might be smart to have him wander the dungeon as a rare monster or something, though. By the way, you'll want to really heat up the egg if you want it to hatch. I suggest throwing it into a fire. Though it wouldn't die even if you froze it or something of the sort. Egg or not, it is still an immortal phoenix. It would also revive even if I broke its egg. It would revive. As an egg. How it worked was a mystery. Apparently, the only thing that could kill a phoenix was old age. Though they turn into eggs after reaching old age, so it was questionable whether or not they truly died. Wow, an immortal phoenix. Thanks for telling us, sister. I really want to thank you, but I'm not sure how. Thufufu. It's the thought that counts, Rokuko. Ah, but there is one thing. I would quite like the massage chair from the room. Would that be possible? I'll pay in DP if necessary. Oh hell yeah, it's money-making time. Time to wring as much DP out of her as I can. Oh, that thing? It just tickles me. I don't think it feels good at all. Let's just give it to her for free, Kaima. How about no? Is what I'd like to say, but Haku, you've been a good friend to us. I don't mind giving it to you for free. Oh my, really? I'm quite happy to hear that. Haku's smile was filled with suspicion and her eyes practically pierced my soul, trying to figure out what I was planning. I smiled back at her as brightly as I could. My face muscles hurt. Seriously, I'm just being nice here. Well, I'd be pretty grateful if you tell me about that dungeon on the other side of the mountain. I get the feeling that they might end up posing some problems for us later. Oh my, that's no problem at all. Haku gave a slight smile and began telling me information I wanted to know. The dungeon was known as the Flame Caverns. They were indeed on the opposite side of the mountain from us. Adventurers needed to be crank or above to enter it. Same for even getting information about it. The monsters within it were almost always fire-based, though there were some earth monsters as well. Now, that was all information that any adventurer, C rank or above, could get at the guild. Everything after that was information I could only get from Haku herself. The dungeon core is a salamander type. Its number is 112. Salamander type, huh? Furthermore, the Flame Caverns had a dungeon master as well. And that master was a dragon, even. Apparently it was a red dragon that had originally been living in Saya Mountain long ago. Dragons have a tendency to be attracted to shiny objects. I imagine their dungeon is absolutely filled with treasure. I'm more worried about the fact that dragons can become dungeon masters. Anyone with intelligence can become the master of a core they match wavelengths with. Though I believe there are some other requirements involved, with names and such. Masters tend not to advertise themselves very much, so it's still mostly unknown what requirements there are to become one. Oh yeah? I became Rokuko's master without really knowing what was going on, now that she mentions it. I almost forgot. You won't be able to use your rat strategy on their dungeon if you end up in a battle with them. Huh? Why not? The floor of their dungeon is quite hot. A good pair of boots would provide enough protection to not worry about it, but rats wouldn't fare so well. They would likely all be crippled by the end of the first floor. Now that's some good info. If she hadn't told me that, I'd probably have summoned a lot of doomed rats. And I guess I really should start preparing for a dungeon battle with those guys. Shouldn't be anything wrong with me thinking up a battle plan right now. Wait. I might lose some sleep getting plans ready. And I was just reaching 13 hours of sleep a day, too. Anyway, that was basically all the information Haku gave me. Though, as I mentioned, you likely won't be seeing them for quite some time. They are on the other side of the mountain, after all. Haku, come on! You're tripping a lot of bad flags here. And so, Haku left with clear reluctance after giving Rokuko one final hug. Her visit had proved very beneficial to us, both financially and intelligence-wise. Thinking about it, Haku is kind of like a bonus character to our dungeon. I'm starting to see her as a goddess of good fortune or something. Guess I should start praying to her. Oh, and by the way, I decided to let Rokuko do whatever she wanted to with the DP tip. I didn't want to even think about what Haku would do to me if she found out I took it from her. How much did she give you anyway? About 100,000 DP. Yeah, I'm sure she'll be fine if I take just a little of that. It's tempting. Anyway, about the phoenix. So, do you want to break the egg and see if it really revives? I went along with Rokuko's invitation and broke the egg with a lit torch. Have you ever heard of the Vietnamese dish known as hot vịt lon? It's a type of boiled duck egg. Except that the egg has a live bird inside of it, just days away from hatching. It's a dish famous worldwide for how gross it is. Pretty weird, isn't it? Boiled eggs aren't gross and bird meat isn't gross, but mix them together, and you've got something extremely gross to most people. The mind can play some funny tricks, huh? Okay, enough trying to escape reality. The broken phoenix egg looks exactly like hot vịt lon. I feel like I'm gonna have nightmares about this. So, that's what Haku said would taste delicious if we ate it? You've got a pretty strong stomach, huh? I'm impressed. Sincerely. Soon enough, however, the gory mess was consumed by flames and, with light particles gathering around it, regenerated as an egg right on the spot. The broken shell remained on the ground. I figured that the phoenix eggshells would be valuable for something. Anyway, the hot vịt lon. The phoenix egg apparently hatched best in fire, so I decided to place it in one of the torches in the dungeon that mysteriously never burned out. Not having to worry about its safety was pretty convenient. I dropped and broke it once by accident while putting it in the torch, but it revived in no time. It was another busy day. Let's rest. After I check the automatic golem I put to excavate the mountain and expand the dungeon, I go to sleep, my first and only love. Good night, world. Hello, my dear sleep. Day 73. Several lazy days passed, and soon enough I forgot all about the flags Haku had tripped. Rokuko suddenly burst into my room while I was sleeping and using Niku as my Dakimakura just like always. We're in trouble, Kaima! The tunnel broke through. I glanced at the dungeon map and saw that we had dug into some kind of hollow cavity. Looking at it directly through the menu, I saw a red cave sprawling out in all directions. Though I had to look through a golem since it was outside of our dungeon. Hey, Rokuko. Is this? It's definitely not our dungeon. What are we gonna do? This is probably the Flame Caverns. I see an adult dog-sized red lizard over there licking his lips with his red tongue, so yeah, this has gotta be the place. Oh. Crap. He just made eye contact with our golem. That's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching, and we have finally hit 500 subscribers. Thank you to all of you for your support. This means a lot to me, and I hope you all will keep supporting me in the future. And once again, thank you for watching and liking and subscribing to our channel.